Hey ladies and gentlemen, Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a modality and a channel and a platform where we apply the principles of mysticism, philosophy, and spirituality to rapid lifestyle transformation. And here I'm making the second video in a series that I was very excited about making. And that's for manifesting in a time crunch, manifesting in the worst of situations. And the paradigm or the example that I'm going to be using is people who are homeless or in prison. And why is that? It's because, first of all, this channel aims to help people in any situation, including the worst of situations. A lot of manifestation coaches and law of assumption, law of attraction coaches assume that their clients are going to be people of means, assume that they're going to be people of upper middle class or middle class incomes. That's not what I'm assuming here, because I'm not in this just for money. I'm in this to actually make a difference, make an impact, and build a community of individuals who can change the world and who can rise from the ashes of this broken system to create a new, more ethical system. So I'm not sure how this video will get out to these kind of people, but I want people who have or know of individuals in this situation to try to share this material with them. And of course, you can reach out to me through email, and I will put my email address in the description, both for coaching calls, which I do charge for, which will help you supercharge your life and implement these tools for radical lifestyle transformation, but also for general questions and for people who don't have any financial means. I am always open to help in that case, if by nothing else than to imagine well for them. And that I always can do, and I of course charge nothing for, and I guarantee you, you will get what you want when I imagine for you. And also I want to teach you how to do this yourself, so you don't need someone to do it. But what can I do now in this video to help? What can I teach you? What can I convey to you? First of all, if you're in a very bad situation, know that that's an excellent starting point. Why? Because you've got no choice now but to let go and to let God. You have no choice but to give up every pretense of effort and struggling. And ladies and gentlemen, it's only the efforting and it's only the struggling that stands in the way of getting what you want. Oftentimes people say, I worked hard for years, and I worked very hard for years, and it eluded me, and then finally I got what I wanted after years. Well, what usually happens in that case is they work very hard, they keep the thing away from them, and then they sort of give up, and then when their resistance steps out of the way, the universe is able to, through the cracks of that, deliver them a piece of what they want. Then they have more faith and they get everything that they want. So if you're already at a point that you can't do anything, congratulations, because you've hit rock bottom, so to speak, and now the only way to go is up. And if you stay out of your own way, you can go up. So I can't really offer you any tools for preparation either, because what we tell our students here is to work as much as you can, as much as it's easy, to make the present film role as comfortable as possible. Because usually the only thing that's preventing you from getting onto another film role is the energetic pull of this film role. And the discomfort of this film role and your evaluation of it as something bad is the glue, so to speak, that's holding you on that film role. But in your case, if you're in prison, or you're homeless, or you're close to losing everything that you have, or you've lost everything that you have, you don't have any resources. There's no money that you can put away. There's nowhere to put it away. So this platform to you in the beginning stages is going to be solely mental. I speak here from experience, ladies and gentlemen, because there was a short stint right after I finished high school and when I moved out of my parents, when I had nowhere to stay. I was effectively homeless. I did live in a university library for a few days, but was then thrown out of that. And I was homeless for a few weeks, and I had no access to food, no access to monetary resources, but I was able to exert myself from that. So I am speaking from experience as well. And I think that Anyone who hasn't been in this situation has been relatively privileged, and I'm not here simply to serve people of privilege. I'm here to serve people of all stripes so that they may get onto this modality. Because, of course, everyone creates his or her own reality. But those who got a leg up in prosperity, well, it's easier for them to continue thinking thoughts of prosperity. So their resistance will manifest in other areas. But for those who were cut off from resources or who did not grow up in a privileged environment, it's going to be more difficult for them to establish a basis of prosperity. But it can be done, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to walk you through that process. So what do you do if you're homeless, ladies and gentlemen? The only thing that you can do, and the first thing that you can do first, is completely and totally surrender and give up to your circumstances. This is ironic, but you have to think to yourself, I'm in the worst situation that I can possibly conceive. I have nowhere to stay. And it's not going to get better, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not going to get better on this film roll. And you are on this film roll. The plan here is to get you to surrender totally to this film roll, and then to be able to get onto another film roll where you do have a place to stay and where you do have work. And many people have been able to do this. But the first step is to realize, I'm in this situation, I am where I am, and here I stay, as the French saying goes, here I stand. So now, knowing that I stand here, knowing that I'm homeless, and knowing that nothing's going to get better, it's not likely to get better anytime soon, is there anything I can find that I can kind of feel good about? And for a lot of cases, you're going to have to look very hard, especially if you're homeless, because there's not going to be a lot of things that you can feel good about. Okay. Is there anything that I can feel kind of okay about or content with? Indeed, you can find something, because in most cases you are breathing. So you can say, well, I'm breathing. I'm alive. And as long as I'm alive and breathing, there's more right with me than there is wrong with me. I don't care if you're addicted to alcohol or drugs. I don't care if you have nothing to eat. Right now you are breathing, and right now you are alive. I want you to just think about that for a few minutes, that you're alive. And that means that you do have a system, no matter how disparate or broken, no matter how insecure that system may seem, you do have a system that is getting you the necessary resources to keep you alive. So you do have enough food, at least, to stay alive. And I know that sounds horrible, and it sounds like someone of privilege trying to say, someone who does have a lot of food trying to say, well, somebody has food. But you have to start searching for things to feel good about. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the minute that you rise your vibration and you rise your emotional countenance, you're going to start slowly getting out of that quicksand. So that's all I want you to do probably for the first week. I want you to spend a few minutes every day trying to find something just to feel a little bit good about. You know, I'm breathing. And I do have food coming to me, no matter if it's that I have to go and beg for it and so on. But everybody has to go and make some kind of effort to find their food, to get their food. No matter if that's in the guise of a job and a paycheck. But everyone has to do something. So you know what? I do have a system of food getting to me. And I do have a system of management. Even though I may not have any money, I do already have a system of budgeting. I am budgeting a certain amount of calories. I'm bringing in food and water. I do have some kind of wardrobe, even though that wardrobe is probably consists of very little. And I do have sort of a network. I have a place to sleep, even though that may be outside, and it may be very uncomfortable. I do have a routine, and I do have a system. Just start with that, and I promise you, It's going to be a lot of effort, ladies and gentlemen, because it's probably going, especially if you've been in this situation for a while, it's going to be a lot of effort to shake up that stuckness and to get to something to feel satisfied about, just a little bit satisfied about. And I swear to you, I promise you that when you start feeling that satisfaction, that is your deliverance. That's what's going to deliver you. That's the first modality that I want you to just get started with. I want you to try to open your mind and your heart to me here. And I want you to just get started with that. Get started with feeling some satisfaction just about the very little thing that you have to praise or to feel good about. It's going to be very hard, but you can do it. It's like lifting weights. You've just got to develop that muscle, my friend. So start finding little tiny things to feel satisfied about. You can look at the sky and say, you know what, I can see. That's another thing. If you can see, if you can feel, and if you're not in constant pain, there are people that would offer $1 million to have that. There are people that are blind, but that have money. And if you ask them, they would offer all of their money to see. And you can see, although you have no resources on the physical, but you can see, you can feel, and you're not in pain. Start thanking for that. And I promise you this is a path that is going to lead to your liberation and is going to lead to your getting out of that circumstance. The second thing I want you to do is to start working with your imagination. And what you can do is you can start imagining yourself in more pleasant circumstances. If you're outside and it's very hot, you can start imagining it being cool and imagine feeling cool. And I promise you, many people have testified to this, including myself, to the weather changing once they imagined being in better weather and better circumstances. So you can imagine yourself being in cooler weather and cooler circumstances. I want you to start toggling between realities. And you have a lot of incentive to do this because your reality is not very pleasant right now. Well, that's a good thing because it means that there's nothing really keeping you in this reality to stay in this reality. So you can start abiding in another reality and you can start building your reality in your imagination. There's even an imaginal workshop that I'm going to walk you through where you can retreat into your imagination, have a workshop, and stay there. And especially if you have no work or you're homeless, or you're imprisoned, you will have a lot of time to do this. And I promise you, you will start being able to switch to your imagination and you'll start to be able to abide there. And then no earthly forces will be able to keep you in a situation that you don't like. For those of you in prison also, I want you to start finding things. If you're in prison, there are certain things that you can be content with. For example, you do have food coming to you. Although it might not be good food, but you do have food coming to you. You are alive. Start finding little things to feel satisfied about. And for anyone in any horrible situation, if you can't find anything to feel satisfied about, you can start imagining yourself in more satisfactory conditions. And I promise you, if you'll give your whole self to that imaginal scene, when you open your eyes, you'll be shocked to find that you're in the situation that you are in. This is what we're trying to teach all of our students, but it's going to be easy for you, and in that case, you have a leg up. We're going to be talking more about the Cynics. The Cynics were a group of philosophers who intentionally went into homelessness to try to find what they could do without. And they were the happiest of people. If you look at Diogenes, he lived in a tub, and when Alexander the Great came and said, I will offer you anything that you want, he was the most powerful man in the world. Diogenes said, just stand out of my light. Because Diogenes had no earthly desires. Because he was living on that imaginal plane and on that conceptual plane, and he had no more earthly desires. So I promise you there is a path to everything that you want. I promise you that you are not alone. The entirety of the universe is here to conspire to aid you, and you need the help of no man. For those of us in addiction, for those of you in addiction, this is going to require a different path also. And I'm going to be making videos as often as I can to help you also. There is a way out of addiction. It also includes, in the beginning stages, surrendering completely to that addiction and not trying to fight it. When you try to fight your circumstances, especially when they're very severe, it acts as glue to keep you on that film roll. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is part of my ministry here to help the least fortunate. If anyone knows anyone in that situation, try to share this material with them. I will also be working on written material, and if anyone has any questions for me or has anything that they want me to imagine for them in my form of praying, please email me, and I never charge anything for this, and I will imagine exactly as they want it to happen. So until very soon, ladies and gentlemen, with great love, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa. If you appreciate our work and like our material, please subscribe and like to our channel. And also, for Master Manifestors, I do have a Facebook group called The Real Javier Novoa. Join that, because we are collaborating together on certain projects, and I'm putting out information every single day. And as well as I'm doing coaching calls to help you, take you hand by hand for rapid lifestyle transformation. Please do email me also, and I will put that in the description. So, ladies and gentlemen, until very soon, this is Javier with much love. We'll see you soon.